listening to Champion Cinema with Chris and Chris.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Champion Cinema. I'm Chris with a Cyborg C.
And I'm Chris with a Anna Kanakis. Okay.
Anna Kanakis. This week, we're looking at 2019 After the Fall in New York and Van Damme's Cyborg, continuing our dystopian post-apocalyptic month of goodness.
Yeah, taking a bit of a detour into the underbelly of post-apocalyptic movies.
Definitely, yeah. I guess before we get started, though, we should mention, about the passing of Roger Corman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
98 years old. What Jesus, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, fair play to him. Massive. Did we talk about this on the show before?
We've mentioned him a few times, yeah.
I just can't remember if we had an off recording.
We were talking in the car last week about Roger Corman. So.
Yeah, probably. That's probably what I'm thinking of. But just saying how, massively influential he was in his own way. Mm-hmm. You could kind of, poo-poo his movies as, low-budget schlock. Whilst it's somewhat accurate.
Yeah, he did make some schlock, yeah.
But it's he was responsible for so many big names in the industry.
Yeah, just giving so many people a start and a chance and just letting them make what they want. Going fast. As far as actors go, Jack Nicholson started with Roger Corman. And James Cameron as well. He was just literally a nobody, just helping a friend out and got the gig. I think he was just moving boxes one day on the set, and then he helped dress the set. People noticed that he was doing a good job dressing the set, and he went from there basically. Yeah. So kind of crazy that he kind of got his in as well through Corman. I did see a shitty post today. Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver, and he's a director in his own right. Did you see the post he put up after he died?
No.
It just seemed really fucking woe is me. He was like, let's not get all fucking idealistic or whatever about Roger Corman. Yeah, he'd give all these people chances, but he basically just turned around into, he never read my scripts and never gave me a chance, so why? I was like, shut up, Paul, you miserable old fuck.
Oh dear. Kind of give everyone a chance.
I know, Jesus.
And also, I'm sure he wasn't the best person in the world. I'm sure he wasn't a saint.
No, of course not.
99% of his life.
But the way he was coming across was just total fucking sour grapes. That's what it felt like to me.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But anyway, R.I.P. Mr. Corman.
Definitely.
Big bloody legend.
Champion Cinema.
So 2019, After the Fall in New York, runs for 1 hour and 36 minutes. It was made in 1983 in Germany. Yeah, we've actually got a good German alternate title this time. Fire Flash, The Day After the End. I like that.
I do like that.
It's a bit more ominous, isn't it?
It's probably better than 2019.
Yeah, Fire Flash sounds cool.
Yeah. Although I guess were they going for a whole class of 1981 type thing?
Maybe.
Trying to get a date in the title.
Yeah. Directed by Sergio Martino. It stars Michael Sopke as Parsifal, Valentine Monnier as Jaria, George Eastman as Big Ape, and returning to the show since Robowar, Romano Popo as Ratchet, Paolo Maria Scalandro as Bronx, Edmund Padam as the president of the Pan Am Confederacy, Hal Yamanuchi as Ratita King, and the MVP of the movie, Luigi I don't know how to pronounce this, D'Iglesia. We're not made for Italian names, sadly.
But
Luigi fuck it, Shorty. What's the story?
That Luigi fella.
Yeah, Luigi. What's the story, though, sir?
It's very much a fever dream, this movie, in many ways. But the world is blighted by radiation, and no one can have babies, apart from one woman who can have babies.
Yep.
So the government kidnaps Parsifal and makes him go get her. So the government can breed her or something?
Potentially. Steal her eggs and make babies or something.
To sum it all up, it's like Sleeping Beauty, but much grottier.
With ape men and little people and cyborgs and shit.
And non-consensual sex, etc. Rats getting injured.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And also, I kind of forgot about the spoilers. I forgot about the twist that Ratchet's a cyborg, so I essentially chose a cyborg double bill. Totally unintentional.
Ironically. It's a very specific niche. Yeah. Post-apocalyptic cyborg movie.
Yeah. With one cyborg in it. But yeah, overall, how did you find 2019 After the Fall in New York? 'Cause I've seen it a couple of times.
I did not enjoy this movie.
To be honest, I honestly thought you would. I thought, like, it's kind of, it's not as, like, you know, compared to the last Italian movies we did, it's not fucking Robo War shock and dark levels of, like, shoddiness, because it's not Bruno Mattei, but I just thought you would find it kind of fun and daft and goofy, really.
Yeah, there's definitely redeeming moments, as always, in movies.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, half of it, as always with me, I always whinge about audio issues and stuff.
I don't know what versions you're watching, because every time you say this, I'm like, it's fine. Are you deaf?
No, I fucking hated the start with the brass horn, and it was all, and it just barraged my senses for like 10 minutes with awful audio.
That's more to do with you than the movie.
And I was just like,
because I don't know what you're talking about.
There's just like a guy playing a brass horn over the start, and any time that I had to like turn it down, I was like, fuck, that's an awful noise.
Because it's obviously, he's got a real like trumpet, but it's just some like of the time cutting edge synth trumpet that does sound a bit wanky.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a film that just borrows heavily, obviously, from lots of other films.
Oh yeah, and it's not pretending it's anything original. It's kind of being very obvious about what it's borrowing from. Like I said, it's part Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Mainly Escape from New York, and you know, you got some car bits that are very Mad Max.
And you get elements of Flash Gordon in there as well. I was getting very Flash Gordon-esque things.
Yeah.
Like the daughter of the villain who like betrays the villain and she kisses the main guy, and then I guess even the bald guy's like Ming the Merciless almost.
Kind of, yeah.
So yeah, it's a strange hodgepodge of a movie.
I mean, like, I haven't seen like a shitload of the Italian like post-nuke movies, but like the ones I've seen are always a bit more camp than the thing they're being influenced by. And this has more of a, like you're saying, Flash Gordon, it's got more of a straight sci-fi feel in parts.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to like Escape from New York or Mad Max or something.
Yeah, like the lasery guns, Stormtrooper, you know, Star Wars-y sort of influence.
And there's always, and I guess because it's set in 2019 and this was made in 83, it like, there's still elements of the time that survived. So there's lots of like spaceshipy, futuristic looking sets with loads of buttons and lights on and stuff like that. Which I'm not a huge fan of. When if it's post-nuke, it's post-nuke. Everything's fucked.
Well, I think this movie's interpretation of like post-apocalyptic is just everything's a bit dirty and everyone lives in sewers.
Yeah, people live in sewers and no one can have babies.
Which is, to be fair though, I do kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that, like, the world's been irradiated and nobody can kind of have babies and stuff, I guess. That gives a driving force to the movie.
Yeah.
I question there being horses, though. Not to be all nitpicky.
Well, yeah, where'd them horses come from?
Yeah, lovely fucking white stallions. Like, wouldn't they just eat those horses? Come on.
I know.
They wouldn't, like, go to the extent of breeding these horses and feeding them and stuff. And can the horses have babies?
Well, they're not 25-year-old horses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just a bit confused, but yeah, maybe, again, that's just nitpicking.
Yeah, I think that's one of those cases of like, okay, look at this design, it looks really cool. Like the guys in black and white horses, and someone said, I was like, yeah, but how are the bred horses? They're just like, shut up, it just looks cool. Just shut up.
The robot horses, man.
Yeah, that's what the other cyborg horses.
That's how they get around it. It's mad, though, that the movie opens with a fire stunt, though. That's pretty daring.
Yeah.
I always wince when I see a fire stunt in movies like this.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, you take the necessary
you wonder
precautions.
about the precautions.
They're like, oh no, fucking Sergio died doing that stunt. We'll just bury him somewhere. That'd be right.
Bury him in one of those buses.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he got crushed in the bus graveyard.
Yeah, just leave him in the bus. I think he's a tramp.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, yes. It's all just jokes.
But yeah, so quite. I mean, it's certainly bold in the fact, speaking of like the bus graveyard and stuff, because that was all shot in New York, wasn't it?
That's what I was thinking when watching it. I couldn't remember if any of this, because I know there is a few that genuinely went to New York, and I couldn't remember. That's the only bit where I thought, is this actually shot in New York? It looks very New Yorkish.
Yeah. So that was shot in New York, and the bits out in the desert were shot in Arizona.
I was going to say that definitely looks like Arizona. You can't mistake that.
Yeah. So that's kind of wild that they've got some on location shooting going on and stuff.
I do love that though about making movies like this at this time, like especially the Italian ones that used to come out. I'm sure it wasn't hard in 1983 New York to find a place that looked dystopian.
Yeah, just any back alley.
Yeah, where we're going to go? Oh, we're over there.
It's probably like the worst thing about New York getting all cleaned up. Basically, they can't like make these films anymore.
No, exactly. Yeah,
just on location in New York.
It's terrible. What do you think of the main dude? Because he's kind of like an enigma in Italian movies. Like, he made 4 movies and then just quit.
Yeah, the Michael Sopko.
Sopko, yeah.
Yeah. He certainly has a look about him. I could have seen him being in a lot more action.
Yeah, he's
movies.
got a great look, like super fucking handsome and stuff. And then, but after four like Italian B movies, it seemed like he just decided, it's not gonna work. Just
Maybe
quit.
just didn't enjoy the experience. Maybe, I don't know.
Because it's weird looking at his filmography. I was like, shit, he's like one of the few actors where I've seen almost every one of his movies because he's only made 4. And I own 3 of them.
It's a similar story though with Anna Kanakis, the lady. Like, although she's been in a bit more than him, I honestly, because she's very attractive. Firstly,
Which one is she? The bad guy?
She's the bad guy, yeah, Anya. So she's like the she ends up betraying the bad guy and killing him and like taking charge.
I love that scene at the end where she just goes, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna fucking kill you and your nurse.
I'm gonna get shit done. You've wasted the entire movie getting your eyes fixed.
Yeah, you've been
I'm
asleep.
in charge now.
Yeah.
But she's such a stunning lady and very, very Italian / Greek. She has a very strong look about her.
I must have seen her in something, probably another Italian movie, because she did look very familiar. Because I kept thinking, have I seen her before? Or does she just remind me of someone? But I've probably seen her. I'm going to have to check her filmography.
Maybe. But to be honest, I also had that feeling like, oh, she seems like somebody.
Yeah.
And when I looked her up on IMDb, I didn't really recognise any movies that she was in. But also, she's just not in that much, really, surprisingly. So, I don't know whether it didn't work out for her or she settled down. Or I did see, sadly, she passed away, age 63.
Oh.
A couple of years ago. So, that's quite sad.
Yeah.
I didn't look into the reasons why or whatnot, but I was just genuinely surprised. I was expecting to see her IMDb be chocker full of stuff.
Yeah, because she does. You're right. She does have like a great look. She's like got like supermodel features and shit. So maybe she was a model. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I only scratched the surface and looked at IMDb. God knows, she might have had a massive music career in Italy. Or God knows what. Yeah, not really.
Because I wasn't surprised to find out that before trying acting, Michael Sopko did some modelling. I was like, look at them cheekbones.
Yeah,
of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
That's probably how he got the gig in the films, right through modelling. I guess probably. And yeah, that happens quite a lot.
Yeah, someone saw his like a photo of him with that guy.
Yeah,
I do get the feeling though that like because obviously he's Snake Plissken essentially. I just get the impression that they were like, you're way too handsome for the eye patch, so we'll put that on Romano Bubble.
Who does make us laugh that speaking of which, he's called Ratchet. I mean, talk about foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Being the cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I initially made a note in my notes that the guy with the hook or the claw, he should have been called Ratchet. Really,
yes, he should have.
The claw. Yeah. But then when it's revealed he's a cyborg, I was like, okay, fair play. I'll let you off. That makes sense.
Who just like flings these balls in people's face the entire movie. That's his gimmick, essentially.
Who's the Bronx?
No, Ratchet with these balls up his sleeve that he just swings around and smacks people in the face with.
I'm thinking, did Bronx put his balls there? No, I've just remembered. Yes, he has little gadgets in his wrists.
Yeah, that bit where Ratchet just fucking claws that bald guy's eyes out with his claws, pretty funny though. Just absolutely no fucks given.
I love the random violence that pops up in this film generally.
Because it's like I said, with the sci-fi feeling, like the campiness, it feels quite light, and then all of a sudden, someone gets shot in the back of the head and their face explodes.
And the guy that gets his belly cut open and his guts come out.
That's like George Eastman's first appearance, which is kind of funny, because of Anthropophagus. His first scene is like him just barreling into the room and slicing a guy's guts out, basically.
I wonder if that was like a sly nod.
I think it probably was,
yeah. Just because it's like stupendously gory compared to the rest of the movie.
It's like, Eastman's here comes the gore.
But I think the film has to get a big fuck you from me just because of the bit with the rats.
You know what?
Stuff.
I forgot all about that scene. I was watching it going, what the fuck? I don't remember this at all. And because I had a DVD of this, and then I got the 88 Films Blu-ray, and maybe it was cut out the DVD. I don't think, because I'm pretty sure the DVD I had was a bootleg, so I don't know. Yeah. But I just don't remember that at all. Awful.
Yeah, because I'm sure they were getting injured for real. That scene.
Well, I'm sure there's
stabbing them and stuff.
I'm sure there's a few shots where they are just like stabbing fucking rats with fucking spears and shit. It's awful.
Yeah. It's like, ugh, come on, don't hurt animals for a fucking stupid film.
Like the scene that follows, which is like, because of what you've just seen, is quite therapeutic, where a bunch of rats are just like, fuck you, mate, and just start eating the guy's face.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, fine. If you're gonna fucking actually stab rats, then just put some like Marmite on that guy's face and let the rats go to town for 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, compensate the actor afterwards.
Yeah. I do like the look of the guy that Hal Yamanuchi who plays the Rat Eater King. Like, he's got such a fucking anime fist and all that stuff. Just because, like, his hair and his mustache and he's like warts on his face and shit, and his general like evil look. He looks so cool.
Yeah. He stands out, doesn't he, quite a lot?
He does.
I thought in the movie.
Yeah.
Just one thing that I'm just going to quickly Google. Does he appear in Star Trek: The Next Generation? Is that where
I've always thought, I've meant to check as well if he was in anything, because every time I've watched this, I go, I'm sure I know him from other stuff, and I've never checked.
Looking at his IMDb, though, he does have a crazy. He went on to much bigger things.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was. I'm maybe thinking of somebody else. Because he was in the Wolverine movie. He's in. I mean, these aren't necessarily films I love, but like Zoolander 2. He's in Life Aquatic, apparently. So he's obviously like carved his way in America as like a working actor and stuff. Like, looking at his IMDb, it's just full of stuff like over the years.
Yeah, I wonder why he was like, because obviously he's Japanese, like heritage, but I wonder why it's just funny that like a Japanese actor in an Italian movie that ends up in Hollywood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, was he in the right place at the right time to get cast in this?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out, actually,
Yeah, maybe they just chanced upon him when they were in New York and something, or something like
maybe,
that.
Yeah.
As I would say, out of all the people in this movie, potentially he's the one that's done the best after this movie.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
I mean, but speaking of Star Trek and his gang, what about the bald chick from Star Trek 1 being there? That's fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah, it does kind of look like it. Yeah.
But yeah, the other guy, I mean, there was one point in the movie when like they met up with George Eastman's crew, who I just referred to in my notes as Planet of the Apes of Penzance.
Basically.
And like at that point in the film, you're like, this film is just the heroes wandering around, stumbling across a gang and staying for tea.
Basically, yeah. They just meet other people and then they move on.
Get a meal, yeah.
Afterwards, it's so random.
Yeah.
I kind of, the movie was losing my attention at that bit when they came across George Eastman's character, and I faded out, and then I faded back in, and I was like, fuck's going on? Why they're in Planet of the Apes now?
It is weird. Did they ever really explain why they're apes?
I can only assume the radiation.
It's some random effect of radiation. Yeah, I'll buy it. Whatever.
But clearly they just had on hand. They just had like ape prosthetics, and they were like, "Oh, we'll use these."
Yeah, they had them left over.
Yeah, like from like the literal Planet of the Apes movie. Maybe it's like some extras. You know, like the makeup from extras or something.
Maybe it's like a case with the whole, as we'll get it with Cyborg, like they were going to make like Master Universe 2 and Spider-Man, but then they didn't, so they had all the shit left over and made Cyborg instead. Maybe Sergio Martino was planning like a Planet of the Apes rip-off, and then he was like, oh, that can be bothered.
And he just went, we'll kind of rip off that New York film that I saw the other day.
We'll just put the apes in there, fuck it.
I quite enjoyed the trumpet motorbike montage. Where there's just a montage of them going about on motorbikes in the desert. Like I said, backed with trumpet.
Synth trumpets.
And then, I don't think I've seen this in a film very often, but they actually drive up on the guy that's playing the music during the montage.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about that seems feels original.
Weirdly, there's a scene in like Bronx Warriors that's almost the same, where there's just randomly a guy just playing drums on the street, and he's drumming the soundtrack of the scene. I don't know why the Italians are obsessed with that. Yeah,
it's a nice touch though. I did like it. It got a laugh out of us when they just pulled up to him.
Yeah. It's kind of funny though. I was thinking like almost like the political sense of it, how there's like the URAC group, and then there's like the Pan American Confederacy. It's just funny that like even in a time when the world has been like battered by radiation, there's still two political like parties bickering.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 10 years ago I'd be like, that's a bit silly. Now I'm like, nah.
Oh yeah, fucking that would definitely happen.
Yeah, of course.
As the human race, we would fight over the scraps.
Totally.
Basically, which is grim.
Yeah, there'd be a post-war war, basically. Yeah.
I always say, like, if there was like an asteroid heading to Earth, and the only way we could do it would be to create this mad missile that's going to cost like 28 billion to construct. would just all die because nobody would want to spend the money. Basically.
Yeah.
It'd be like that grim.
Or there'd be a conspiracy theory about how it's not real, the asteroids, something like some bullshit like that. Like,
Yeah, ultimately destroy ourselves.
So, what about any major highlights of the movie?
I think the genuine highlight for me and the MVP of the movie is Luigi's performance when he's like crying. Mm-hmm. I was quite like, I thought, fuck me, he's like the only person that's actually tried to act in this movie, pretty much. When he sacrifices himself rather than give his mates up.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of unintentionally funny. But it's just badass the way like he stays behind to distract them, and he's like, I'll tell you where they are. Spots a big spike and just shouts stupid bastards and just rams his chest into it and kills himself.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't make any sense.
No.
And could he not have just stayed quiet?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like killing yourself really necessary in that scenario.
Tell you what, though, it's a very odd shot where, when first one highlight is when Parsifal pulls out his fucking Friday night at the pub to some bird line where he's like, if love had any meaning in this world, you'd be the one I love. I'm like, you've fucking used that before, haven't you? But
Totally.
then the scene after the sleep together and then the wake up to George Eastman kicking off.
Yeah.
There's a shot of Shorty waking up, sleeping next to Ratchet with white stuff all over his lips. I'm like, what's going on there?
Yeah. That's suggestive. Trying to think, is that before or after where they get that stupid? There's like the bad guys go into the sewers with like a sound machine. And it like tortures them all.
Oh, yeah.
Like, high pitched noise. Because I noticed his mouth's foaming during that scene.
Okay, maybe that was it then. Okay.
So I think that's maybe something to do with that, yeah.
So he just didn't wipe his little gob, basically.
Yeah. They just like reset. They filmed that scene where he foamed at the mouth and they just reset straight away and he didn't have a chance to like clean his face. So, okay. Speaking of funny lines though, one that I did make note of by George Eastman. He says to the heroes, they've been combing the streets like you're a bunch of bananas. Which is like, does that work? Do you comb the streets for a bunch of bananas?
I mean, from his point of view, because that's probably what he does, being a monkey.
I guess, being a big ape and stuff. But yeah, it just made us laugh. Again, just silly lines.
Yeah, Eastman in general is a highlight, just because he's, I don't know. He just always stands out movies because he's just giant.
Yeah, he's just broad and generally like menacing.
Yeah. As much as he does look silly, he doesn't look silly enough to not be scary because it's just George Eastman, basically.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking though when they were like, so there's this really sexy, scantily clad lady, and she's the only lady that can breed on the planet. She's lying there on the table, totally under. We're just going to leave the rapey guy with her. We're just going down there. We'll be back in a minute. I'm not sure that was the right choice.
No, probably not.
And they're like, oh, actually, you are a bit rapey. We'll leave this girl as well.
Yeah.
And she'll look out for the other girl.
Yeah.
And then she just gets immediately knocked out by George Eastman.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of bad decisions going on during that scene.
The whole movie, really.
They play it off quite well, I suppose, for all it literally is rape, though.
Well, yeah, it is, yeah.
That he's supposed to, like, obviously have intercourse with her when she's, like, in suspended animation. But I guess he's, like, humanity's hope because he's extremely virulent.
Yeah.
Even though, I don't know. It's like he's humanity's hope because he's going to spawn the future generation. But it's kind of comes from rape. It's kind of messed up when you think about it.
And he's part ape. So is this actually a prequel to Planet of the Apes?
It could be.
Yeah.
It's Planet of the Apes pilot. I can't get my words out. It's Planet of the Apes prequel. I hate prequels that much I can't even bring myself to this.
You're like, prequel.
The prequel that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
what I'm trying to say.
tell you one thing, though. Like, the film ends, like, quite ominously the way she just opens her eyes and blankly stares at Parsifal. And I was like, sequel idea.
Yeah.
She wakes up with a taste for human flesh. Cannibal woman on a naked cannibal woman on a spaceship.
She just wakes up, looks over at Parsifal, and she's thinking, does my vagina really hurt? Or that's too dark. But yeah.
The pause. I'm like,
But yeah, this is definitely a film to sum up that I would never watch ever again.
Fair enough. I mean, it's not like I like a lot of Sergio Martini movies. This is not one of my favorites. His best stuff is like his giallo stuff in the 70s, but
Yeah.
I think it's silly and fun. It's not a film I've seen it like 3 times, but it's not like a film I watch a lot. But it's kind
I
of.
suppose
fun.
it could be a film more to watch, if you've got friends and you're having a few drinks.
Yeah,
and it's on in the background.
It's definitely
type
one of
film.
those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a tough watch in terms of there's nothing really appetizing happening. It doesn't feel very satisfying. Like where it's going with the story, it just kind of feels like a bit of a slog.
It does plod along sometimes a bit. Yeah, it's about like 10 minutes too long, I think.
Yeah. But like I said, there's some positives. I really like the Anya character, the Anna Kanakis. Like I said, George Eastman's really cool.
Yeah.
I like the character Shorty. I think there's some cool stuff.
What did you think of the clown at the start? That was
Yeah,
weird, wasn't it?
God, I forgot about that. Yeah,
How he just he wins a woman and the license to kill.
yeah, yeah. Again, this is where I was like, oh my God, I feel like I've been hit on the head.
Yeah.
And I can't understand what's going on. Yeah, that was pretty awful, that bit.
Yeah, that's the one thing that surprised me the most when I first started watching these like Italian ones. I was like, they're really fucking daft.
Yeah. Yeah, it did give us kind of vibes of like Twisted Metal a little bit as well. Especially when it got into like the car stuff and that as well. Because he has like some sort of like car battle, right? Before he meets the robot clown.
Yeah.
I guess.
And that's his prize for winning her.
Yeah, just a woman.
A woman and 2 license to kills. That's about it. Yeah. I mean, it's stupid though. I mean, why the fuck in a post-apocalyptic world you're just racing about wasting petrol?
Yeah. Just having a car battle.
Yeah.
Why not? I should mention actually, this should be like a segment of mine. There is some audio from Aliens in this movie.
Really? Aliens?
Aliens, yes.
This is pre-Aliens though.
Yeah. So it does make us think like, I guess Cameron like used
Stock sound? Yeah, what's the sound?
when he's on the bike and there's like it's when they're trying to kidnap him, basically, the government, or hold him hostage or whatever. So like there's a spaceship overhead hovering over him or chasing him, trying to like get him. That bit, the sound of the ship overhead is the drop ship sound.
Oh really?
Like when it's kind of like idling into the atmosphere in Aliens.
That must just be like a stock sound made for...
Yeah, stock military sound.
I guess it wasn't made for this movie, so it must have been like made for something else.
Yeah, I always get the impression that a lot of audio in Aliens was kind of stocky, like the door noises and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sounds in most movies are like stock most of the time.
But as I've said, sort of last time when this kind of came up, I've seen those movies so many times. Like any audio from those movies pop into another film, and I'm like, that's from Aliens, straight away.
Yeah.
I suppose I should probably ask, because you asked me, but I didn't ask you. Is there a particular highlight for you?
Oh, I kind of was going through mine as you were going through yours, really, like Shorty, Eastman, and that scene where he just woke up and there was something on his mouth, and I was like, what's all that about?
Intrigue.
Yeah.
Bit of intrigue.
There is one thing that I always mean to check, and I checked again this time, where it says music by Oliver Onions, and I'm like, what a name. Every time I see that name in a Thai movie, I'm like, what an awesome name.
Is it a pseudonym or something?
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm sure it's a pseudonym for like a team, and it is. It's a brother team called Guido and Maurizio De Angelis, so they're kind of like the Italian Fat Less.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, it's very memorable though.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it does have a cool, like, little grungy synth score. I quite like some of the themes in it. Yeah,
yeah, the whole like wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
like, noise. I always got to dig a soundtrack that's a bit like that.
exactly. Yeah.
Like the I don't know what the official term would be for it, but
Although here's a question though, because this is the second Sergio Martino movie we've ever done on the show. The other was Mountain of the Cannibal God. Which one's better? Which one do you prefer?
I think I would have to go with Mountain of the Cannibal God.
Oh wow!
I reckon.
Even with that fucking scene where they're climbing the waterfall for half an hour.
Well, true. There is that, but I just don't remember like actively like hating that.
I think we did have.
Okay,
I think I do remember you having quite a bit of fun with that movie, like from our review and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I recognise some interesting and cool bits in this, but I don't really feel like I had a great deal of fun with this movie. I just felt like, I don't know, again, it could be mood at the time,
It could
maybe.
be, yeah.
But because I mean, I had to pause. I had to stop. I think I like went upstairs and just had a shower, like looked into the shower head for 10 minutes. Mid watching this movie, I was just like, I can't do it all in one.
It's the scene in Ace Ventura, except it's because of After the Fall in New York.
Basically. Film. Instead of film I'll never come back to. Did they do a nice release? Was this 88?
Yeah, 88 put it out like in their Italian collection, yeah. Like the film, like, because at first, because I was watching the films just today, like a couple hours ago, so I wanted to like sit at my computer and watch them and do like just type my notes out as I was going instead of writing them down and shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I was just like, is there a version on YouTube? And there was, but it's like fucking 240p.
Gosh.
It was pixelated and blurry as fuck, so I went, fuck this, and just put the Blu-ray on. But I noticed like, it must be like maybe the old transfers on DVD were like wrong, because the opening scene was like, looked like broad daylight, whereas on the Arrow Blu-ray, it's like dusk and got a blue tint on it. And I was like,
that's weird.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's the way it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
It's like a totally different time of day. But yeah, the fucking 88 like transfer is like spotless. It looks brand new. It's a really nice transfer, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of those 80s movies, Italian movies, like did come off really well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Though? Like that's one of the craziest things about like this time period, like all these mad movies that were like, you know, grotty sort of video nasty sort of territory type stuff, but like now they're getting like crazy steelbooks and 4K and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking hell, they look really amazing.
Yeah, especially the Italian stuff, because, you know, they just shot movies really well, didn't they?
Yeah, and, you know, did it on film and did it the right way with the right light and the right lenses and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's like a 30-minute interview on there with Sergio Martino, an interview with the art director, Antonello Galeng, which runs for 10 minutes. The Code Red release in America has a commentary with Michael Subque and a couple other people, like DVD producers, I think, and a bunch of interviews with like various cast members, including Subque and George Eastman as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's good that if you're, you know, a lover of this movie and stuff, you try it well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I will say though, like as far as the Italian rip-offs go, as far as like the Escape from New York rip-offs go, I think the Bronx Warriors movies are more fun.
Right.
We should probably do those at some point. They're quite fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I guess we'll move on to Cyborg then. Jamie.
Champion Cinema.
Cyborg, released in 1989 with a runtime of 1 hour 26 minutes, directed by Albert Pune, starring, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme as Gibson Rickenbacker.
Yes.
It's an interesting name. Deborah Richter as Nadie Simmons, Vincent Klin as Fender, Alex Daniels as Marshall Stratt, Dale Haddon as Pearl Prophet. And I'm just going to give a shout out because the name's cool. Written by Kitty Chalmers.
Yeah.
Don't know why that name just caught my eye. I thought
It's a very sweet name for a movie this grotty.
exactly.
I can't imagine someone called Kitty Chalmers sitting down and going, and then he sticks a giant pole in his mouth.
We'll open with a crucified naked lady. And speaking of which, what is the film all about?
Well, in a future where the world has been ravaged by a plague, Pearl, a cyborg carrying information that will help create a cure, must obtain the services of a Belgian mercenary, or a slinger, as they're called here, named Gibson, to help her reach the scientists in Atlanta. However, when she's taken by a gang of marauding pirates who don't want a cure, led by the apocalypse's most renowned death metal vocalist, Fender, he must save her and the wild.
Essentially, The Last of Us. That's
Essentially, yeah.
They sat down and watched this movie and went, should we make a video game?
To be honest, I've never really thought that, but you're right. A guy with like a haunted past of people that he loves dying gets saddled with some girl. Go
who
find a
has
cure.
a cure for a plague? Yeah, totally.
Fucking unoriginal bastards. Everyone's sucking that TV show's tits.
Yeah, say Naughty Dog are geniuses for making the game. That's
Fucking
lies.
thank Albert Pune, please. And Kitty
I was
Chalmers.
going to say, and Kitty.
Let's not forget about Kitty Chalmers. But yeah, I guess we should briefly go over the history of why this film got made in old canon. So canon were going to make a sequel to He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and Spider-Man, and Pune was going to direct both of them, but then, this was towards the end of canon, so they were like, no, we better not do that.
The dark days of canon, unfortunately.
So then Pune quickly wrote a script for Cyborg to like recoup some of the costs because they'd already spent money on like costumes and sets and stuff. Although I do wonder when watching it, like which sets were made for what. I'm guessing they just took maybe the New York set for Spider-Man and grunged it up.
Possibly, yeah, because it's a hell of a set.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But Pune originally wanted Chuck Norris, but I guess Cannon were high on Van Damme after like the big success of Bloodspot, so they were like, no, use this guy. But Pune's original version was supposed to be this big, kind of more grander, gritty, heavy metal opera. Like the score had loads of guitar on it, like the original score. Fender's gang were like way more satanic, which they've completely got rid of. There's just loads of time. Like, you know, the start where he slits the guy's throat.
Yeah.
In the like work print, which I'll get to in a minute, he literally says, "I'm going to claim your ass now, your soul, for Satan." And he's always banging on about Satan.
Metal.
Yeah, he's very metal. I mean, heard his voice, Jesus. But way back in the day, in 2009, on my very first podcast I did with Jamie, we reviewed Cyborg and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, actually. I guess we were doing a little post-apocalyptic thing then as well. And fucking 2 days after the show goes up, I've got comments from Albert Pune.
That's nice.
So I dug them out, and he says, "Hi, Chris and Jamie. I heard your podcast review of Cyborg and thought it was very entertaining and quite kind. And yes, the story behind the making of the film was more or less correct. But the real story about the post-edit of the film, how I was spinning back-kicked out of the cutting room, and so went my dreams of a post-apocalyptic heavy metal rock opera, hence the instrument names." I don't think JC understood the movie we made. We actually screened my director's cut to Van Damme and the producers with the rock opera track in process. The film was extremely gritty and almost documentary in feel, very raw and heavy. Unfortunately, it was too artsy and real relative to its genre. Anyway, enjoyed the review in your podcast, and this is the point where it gets to like an in-joke in the podcast where Jamie wanted to fight Steven Seagal. And Pune's worked with Seagal as well, so this actually put the shits up us for a little bit. He's like, "I'll be sure to pass it along to Mr. Seagal so he knows where there are some bones to be broken, LOL."
That's cool. Yeah.
And then the next week, this is the coolest part, the next week after we talked about him, like, sending us a message, he left a comment on that episode saying, "Yes, I'm still listening and enjoying." This is the funniest part. "You're both great, ... Well, that may be a bit of an exaggeration."
Real.
He said, "The best part is how much you both enjoy yourselves. P.S. Stephen is still mulling over the offer to enter the cage with Jamie. What does he win after snapping most of Jamie's joints?"
That's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Just how he listened the next week as well. I always wonder how long he listened for after that. But yeah, very cool.
Yeah. He had some fun with it as well.
Yeah, I do like that. You're both great. Well, that may be a bit of an exaggeration. I think I replied saying, "You can't say something nice like that, then take it away." But yeah, eventually, Pune got a hold of his old work print again and released it himself. And it is pretty different if you watch it. Like, obviously,
I've never seen it. Yeah.
You can find it because he did release, like, I don't even know how the hell he got away with it, really. Because like, MGM owned Cyborg, but he just released his director's cut independently on his website years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got like, it's weird because it's shorter than the theatrical version, and there's some violence missing. So I'm guessing like Pune was considering trimming down some of the violence, and then it was obviously put back in with the new editors.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got different tone, feels dark, and like I said, it's got that heavy metal like score to it, lots of guitar and stuff.
Yeah, because that's interesting. Like the audio once again. I guess. I'm like a fucking audiophile apparently.
Yes.
But the music properly gets in the way of this film. I hate the music.
To be honest, I quite like the score, the synth score of the movie. Yeah, I think it's honestly though. I think it's just because I've seen the film that many times. It's like it's part of the. It's too much part of the film. I know what you mean though. It's kind of like a very in-your-face score.
Yeah, and just how it plays. It makes us think of Rogue Squadron or whatever it's called. The N64. It's all like like synth trumpets or something. Maybe I don't like trumpets.
I think that's what we've discovered this week. You fucking hate trumpets, especially synth trumpets.
Fuck Trump and fuck trumpets.
No politics, please.
But yeah, I think I'd be interested to see this movie with a different soundtrack. I would probably enjoy it more.
Well, the opening of the director's cut's great because it opens with him crucified on the boat. And like he's like in a monologue, which I'm guessing maybe Pune did later when he was re-editing the work print, because it's not Van Damme doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
But then like Van Damme screams and then it just cuts to black and you just hear basically this like Van Halen fucking eruption style solo over the shot of New York at the start. And I'm like, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
But yeah, the guy who did the score, I was looking up, I was like, it's a Kevin Bassenson. I was like, he sounds familiar. And I was looking at his filmography. He did the score for Police Story, like the international version that was on video over here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because there was moments where I was thinking, I don't like the music, the synthy stuff, but it is giving us Hong Kong vibes.
Yeah, it was only the version on video, like the rental version, basically.
Right. Yeah, that's probably where I'm like getting that feeling from. That's interesting.
But yeah, I can understand though, like Van Damme's point of view of seeing that version of the movie. Like this was only his second leading role. He just had a massive hit with Bloodsport. He doesn't want to do something like kind of weird and experimental for his second movie. So from his point of view, I totally get him going like, I need to re-edit this movie.
Yeah, like I need more shots of me just looking cool.
It is funny
That's
though. I was going back and forth between the theatrical and the director's cut for a few scenes, and it's just funny, basically like you can just tell the Van Damme edits because they're in every one of his movies where like he'll kick someone, then he'll kick them again. It's just the same take from a different angle.
Yeah,
it's like all that stuff's not in the director's cut. It's just Van Damme going, I want to see my kick again.
Yeah, which is great because at least though.
Yeah,
I don't know, like who you're dealing with. There's something about Van Damme, like when you see Van Damme's leg before you see Van Damme in this movie, you just see the kick, but you immediately know it's Van Damme. Like, there's something about his leg. I don't know what it is, but and all the like the camera angles are very like Van Damme-y, I guess. Like all the spin kicks that he does in the movie and stuff. There's just something. I guess it's very dependable. You know where you're at with Van Damme.
But yeah, just to finish off that a little bit, like I was just going to say, like Albert Pierre passed away obviously like a couple of years ago, and like whatever you think of his movies, he did make some like very cheap, shoddy movies in his career. But like he just always seemed like one of those guys that was just like a really good dude who just loved movies, just wanted to make movies, and just seemed like a really down to earth, like sweet guy. So
yeah, and it's cool that. I mean, Christ, I watched Cyborg after 2019, and it was just like I think I summed up that Cyborg is the movie 2019 wishes it was.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah,
and it seemed like the quality like jumped massively. So I really enjoyed Cyborg after watching 2019.
I watched. Wait, I think this is the first time I've watched them the opposite. I watched Cyborg first.
Did you? Interesting.
But as for the film we have, the main version of the movie, I guess the theatrical movie, big favourite of mine growing up. Even though, like thinking about it, like it's. At least of his first 4 or 5 movies, it's definitely Van Damme's most violent of his earlier movies, I would say.
Yeah, and just the tone of the movies, kind of, I mean, like I joked about, but the film literally opens on a shot of a naked woman crucified.
Yeah.
With another one in the background crucified, and it's quite graphic, really. I was kind of blown away. I wonder if that was a body cast or whether it was an actual person that they put up there.
I think there's one scene where you can see someone crucified in the background and it looks like a dummy, like a cast type of thing. So it probably was,
it was a great shot, very, very quick moment, but it just kind of sets the tone for the movie, what you're in for, really.
Yeah, definitely. And it was like...
not fucking around.
There was obviously like more violence that I don't think's ever been found that they cut out. Even the version you can get this uncut, because it was even cut over here, more on video, but like you can tell that bit where he's about to shove like the big bamboo thing in his mouth and it oddly cuts and you're like, I wonder what the fuck that looked like.
Yeah. Did they just get like a dummy head and just ram it through
probably.
Or something?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
The one thing I did want to mention is just the crazy like cyborg effect that you don't really see again.
Well, like the stop motion effect.
Yeah. Like, sadly, it goes from, I don't know if you agree, but it goes from like very good to very bad, like very quickly. I think it's a great shot when you see the back of the head. It has some of that like Phil Tippett sort of like stop motion-y stuff going on. But I just think they were like insanely overambitious.
Yeah, just a bit, yeah.
When you see like the full front of the face and you see the character like blinking and talking and stuff, it's like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
And it looks fully like Michael Jackson as well. The robot. Like, I was like, whoa, it's gone full Michael Jackson. But yeah, just what were they thinking? It's fucking CGI and talking sort of levels of like hubris where you're like, aye, this looks mint, let's just do it.
Yeah, because that shot of like the sort of double like cut of her putting a hand up to the front of her head, then pulling the wig back, and then it revealing the back of her head. That looks great. Yeah, like you were saying.
Yeah,
and then she turns and you're like, get off, you're ruining it.
Yeah, like shit. Yeah, you had to sort of like spoil it with, like I said, that overambition of like, this is a really, really cool puppet, which it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at the time it was even more mind-blowing. But having it on camera, I'm not sure it looked so good. I mean, it looked now like the actress for a start.
No, it doesn't really, does it?
Which is grim. But it's probably like the only bit of the movie that like really, is like really ropey.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
The rest of the movie kind of holds well together.
Because the rest of it's just down dirty and gritty for the most part, isn't it? Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme walking around meeting new women.
Essentially, basically.
That's what this film is.
Yeah.
How many women does he meet in this film? Is it like 3 or something?
I think so, yeah. Well, there's the woman in the flashback, and then there's Nady, and then there's the cyborg, and then there's the grown-up girl from the flashbacks. That's four.
They're just randomly coming across. It's like they had a nugget of an idea, and they just didn't know what they were wanting to do with that idea of, I don't know, him meeting women or something.
It's just he's the male saviour to the women.
Basically.
That's what it is, let's be honest.
He does look great, though. Van
He
Damme,
does,
in this
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
He looks 12, obviously.
Of course he does, yeah. I wonder how old he was, yeah.
20, yeah,
20 odd,
mid-20s,
yeah.
maybe. Physically, he looks great as well, though. Like doing all the fight and stunts and whatnot. It all looks great. Like you can see even at this stage, like how much on-screen charisma Van Damme has.
Yeah, because they don't give him. They go like the Mad Max 2 route of not giving him a hell of a lot of dialogue. He's probably got like 6 lines in the movie, maybe, but he just plays it all in his face. He just goes off his, like you said, his charisma and his screen presence. Really, he does have a fucking bucket load of. He always has.
Yeah.
People can say what they want about Van Damme and his shit. Yeah, I can say I don't know, man. Sometimes it just all takes a screen presence. Like like it was always said about Bruce Lee. Like he didn't get the chance to become a great actor, but he had screen presence.
Yeah, like just something the camera loved him.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly, yeah.
and it's very similar with Van Damme. Yeah.
But what do you think of Fender? Like I don't know if it's just residual fear from childhood, but he still scares the fuck out of me.
he's a crazy looking bastard.
And especially they've done that once again. Like they've done the Wes thing and deepened his voice in post.
Yeah.
And these fucking crazy eyes. He's just terrifying.
I guess the contacts, right? I've never looked it up. But
I think it is. Yeah, because he's in. I remember seeing him when I was a kid in Point Break. He's like one of the guys he has a fight with in Point Break. And I was like, fuck me, it's Fender.
Yeah. Fender bomb.
Yeah.
Keep thinking.
Just imagine Sammy Davis Jr. as the bad guy in this movie.
Just going around cutting people's throats and that.
What's the deal with this cyborg cockamamie?
I would love that. Post-apocalyptic cannonball run. That's what it is. Don't. Everyone's running around in like fucking
souped up muscle
Interceptors
cars. Yeah.
But yeah, he's a great villain. Again, he has like kind of screen presence and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I like that they went to the effort during the flashbacks, which I will come back to. Kind of annoyed the piss out of us.
Oh, did they?
A little bit. Just because they're overused. But I do like in the flashbacks that they went to the effort of like actually making him look a bit younger.
Yeah, they kind of made. They gave Van Damme a shitty wig.
Oh well, yes. Yeah. But Fender himself, like they give him a different hair. He just looks a lot younger, and I totally buy that. That was like Fender the early days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that shot in the flashback, it always unsettled me as a kid, and it still does. When it pans from them in bed up to the window, and they're just leering. It's such a creepy shot, and it's so well done.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I suppose just to cover off the flashbacks, I just think his wig is ridiculous. It gives me vibes of Brendan Fraser in The Mummy for some reason, because I'm sure he's got like the same wig in that movie. Like maybe it's literally the same wig, but also they're just. In a better movie, they wouldn't show you it as much, or they wouldn't show you it at all. They would hint that he's got this like horrible past, and they would like unpick his past through a more clever way. I think there's a bit where like the female that he picks up at one point, I can't remember her character's name. Nady. She's like, oh, what did Fender do to you? And it just immediately smash cuts to like the flashback again. Yeah. It's like, I know, I remember.
I think from skimming through and comparing the director's cut to Day Like the Work print, I'm sure that the flashbacks are in a different... placed in different places. I think there's more of it at the start. I don't think it's piecemealed out as much throughout the movie.
Yeah, I think there's like just a better way of doing the flashbacks.
I think the flashback works really well. Like I love the whole scene where he's crucified and just left to die.
Yeah, like maybe it's that.
Yeah, and that's what gives him like he keeps thinking about it, and that's what gives him like the energy to get like make it. That's a great scene. That I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what was going on in the flashback. Like, so they were wrapped in barbed wire, suspended over a well.
Yeah.
Him, his missus, who's got the worst American accent ever. You killed my pa.
Yeah, that always catches me off guard. How much I'm like, oh, she's Southern.
It just doesn't make any sense. But and they've got a little kid, and the other little girl has a hold of the barbed wire.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of sadistic.
It's just 20, it's just awful sadistic bastards,
like
basically.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
But so they died when they fell in the well, but he didn't die.
Well, no, because it's Van Damme. He fell on his ass.
He crushed. They softened his landing.
Yeah.
Maybe, and that's why he's so angry, because he actually crushed his family.
He crushed him with his rock hard ass.
He was all like, and then he's like, oh no. But yeah, it just kind of gave us Street Fighter vibes as well. Speaking of like Van Damme and stuff. Is it just me, or does Fender kind of not recognise who Van Damme is?
No, he doesn't. No. Not
So
for a while.
I'm getting like M. Bison vibes, where like Van Damme's like, I will hunt you and get my revenge no matter what. But Fender's like, who are you?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Look at all the shit Fender does in the first half an hour.
I guess.
That's just one day. What else have you been doing for the past 5 years, or however long it's been?
I just want a Fender monologue where he's like, for me, it was a Tuesday.
For me, it was Tuesday, fucker.
I fucking loved it.
I mean, I do always, you know, that bit where he's thinking about when he crawls out the well and then he just gets on his knees and screams Fender.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it always sounds like he's just shouting Van Damme. And like he's summoning his powers like He-Man.
Van Damme!
And then I was like, I wonder if that might be part of the Master Universe 2 plans. Like Skeletor chucks He-Man, Teela and Gwildo down a well.
There you go.
It's the dark Master of the Universe sequel.
It totally would have worked.
Yeah, whatever.
Have bloody Monica hanging on to the barbed wire. Courtney cock.
No, you have Gwildo holding onto the barbed wire.
It's a
So
lot
you have
harder
all
for him. It's cool that in this film you get the obviously the JCVD splits.
Oh, that's a highlight for me. That's such a great shot of like him with the splits and the guy below. It's lit so well and it just looks so atmospheric and cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good moment in the movie. And pleased it's in there, and it kind of establishes. Like that's what I mean about Van Damme, though, that he's dependable because he's Van Damme and he does Van Damme stuff.
He has his trademarks. Yeah.
Yeah. I love all the stuff where he like grabs somebody's limb and then punches them repeatedly.
Yeah.
and but he does like a little jump at the same time as punching them.
Yeah.
I just love that body language. Like I could watch that in every movie. Just him going "Apa, apa," doing his little thing,
Doing his tip tap shit. But yeah, what about the action in the movie? Because there is a fair bit of action. I do always enjoy they're very close together. Actually, there's the scene in the like hollowed out building where they get attacked by that like masked gang. It's kind of over edited a bit, like because it's like shots that are like less than a second. I'm like, you don't need all these fucking edits, man.
Yes, there is a lot of like crazy editing going on.
But the setting and the tone of the fight and the action is really cool. It's very very gritty. It feels dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good. I think the action is like generally really good, and like like I said, the fighting stuff comes across really well. I like the sound effects and stuff going on in the fighting and stuff.
Good punching sound effects that are quite unique to this film, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I really enjoyed all the little fighty bits.
I do love his little boot knife. That great slow motion shot where he like jumps up and spin kicks him and slashes his throat with the boot knife. That's nice. Yeah,
and he gets to use that a few times in the movie, doesn't he?
Yeah,
which is really cool. Yeah, I like that. There's a bit of a chick fight as well later on in the movie.
There is, and he fucking lobs a hand off and then just punches her with a stump.
Just gets knocked out.
It's very brutal.
A lot of women get knocked out in this movie, thinking about it.
Well, it was the 80s one. It's just, sadly, it's just a common. Yeah.
Doesn't like the cyborg lady, she like knocks herself out by falling on her face.
Yeah, she's a bit clumsy for a cyborg, isn't she, really?
And like, she misses the finale by being unconscious on her face, basically. Which is a bit random. But Nady as well, something about when Nady eventually gets captured, kidnapped by Fender.
Yeah.
And she's like on the floor, but like on her face with her arse in the air, pretty much. I don't know. There's something very comedic about the way she posed. Just made us chuckle.
I do like that whole action scene as well, like in that kind of factory, whatever it is, place. I always loved the shot for some reason where he like loosens the pipe and swings down on it. I always thought that was a badass shot. Just a badass moment, rather.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's really cool.
And then he just hits the ground and starts blowing people away with like, I think, what are those again? All the guns are paintball guns. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it kind of looks like, I don't think they go into it. Like, that's certainly just the the like screw-on cylinders. The actual props must have been paint guns.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
Like they just took paintball guns and just customized them, really.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. It's like gas-powered guns, basically. They're trying to say, which is cool. You don't see that very much.
Yeah, it's interesting, and they look good. Like the kind of like quad-barrel shotgun or something that he's got.
Yeah, it's almost like a little minigun kind of thing. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Fender has a very similar gun as well, doesn't he? Like a shorter barrel sort of thing. Tell you what, as well, there's a really great shot in the movie that I made note of where Van Damme's running towards the camera, where he's got the knife and he's running at the other guy.
Oh, yeah, that's an epic moment.
Yeah, it's really cool. And again, like a cool little quick fight between them. Yeah.
And of course, you got the finale. You can't beat a finale with just two buff guys with their shirts off in the rain fighting. Can't beat it.
Very much, I guess. Did he kind of take what he learned here for and then replicate it in Universal Soldier? I guess
It is very similar to the end of the Universal Soldier. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
muscled guys fighting in the rain, sort of thing.
Yeah, he probably saw how good he looked in the edit and was like, "Whoa, do that."
Yeah, totally. It's all like the rain. Yeah. I love it.
Just need a bigger guy to fight Dolph Lundgren.
To be like critical for a moment of that finale, I guess if I was going to whinge about the movie, I'd say like, what changed? Maybe it's the movie's missing something in the middle, like a montage, not a montage, but something like
a montage.
Yeah, a training montage. But like, Van Damme gets absolutely battered by the Fender guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets crucified as well. He wiggles himself off the cross.
Yeah.
And then manages to just beat Fender the next time he sees him.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, what's changed? You know what I mean? Like, why is he beating him, though? Like, is it vengeance? Shouldn't vengeance have been enough the first time?
Yeah, he's kind of been pissed off for years. Like, why did it take getting crucified to piss him off even more?
So that's what I mean. So I just think...
I will say, though, it's kind of funny that fucking, he gets mad on the pole, so starts kicking the pole and breaks it. Fucking, it's like the same year as Kickboxer. It's just the year Van Damme getting pissed off and kicking things till they break.
It's like his gimmick at this point.
It's mad though when you look. Like, this wasn't like a flop because I think it only made like 10 million. I don't know what. I think the budget was about $1 million. And Kickboxer made 50. So this is kind of considered like a flop, really. And not a flop, but just underperformed compared to the other two, the two that bookend it. Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's certainly the more like obscure, culty.
It's the black sheep of his early ones, I would say. Because I was saying it's like super grim and violent compared to like Bloodsport and Kickbox. I mean, they're violent because there's a lot of fighting, but there's a lot of gore in this when you think about it. Yeah. I mean, my only main criticism of it, I don't know if it's like, I've kind of always felt like this, that there's something odd about the film. And it probably more so now that I learned about like the troubled editing and post-production stuff. But it's just something about the film that doesn't feel finished or something. Yeah,
there's definitely that going on. It just feels a bit...
And that's probably because it's not the film it was supposed to be. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly. Like the whole cyborgy things feels a bit weak. You're suddenly thrust into it, but you don't really get a sense for why.
It's a couple of things, isn't it, really? It's like Pyun's original version being completely changed to what he was intending, and the fact that he wrote it super quick just because Cannon needed to make a movie. So it's like it's half-baked, plus his original idea isn't fully realised. So there's just something off about the film, and even more so when you know about all this shit as well.
Yeah, it just has all the hallmarks of a troubled production.
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much, yeah. But it's still fucking super entertaining, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's a kind of a pillar of those types of movies back then, sort of thing. Yeah, and like I said, it's probably what a lot of movies like 2019 and stuff probably in their heads were aspiring more towards being.
Oh,
like.
definitely, yeah. But as for the highlights, I mean, Fender is a big highlight. He's such a good villain.
Massively.
There is one bit that I always laugh at, like, spotting a blooper. The shot where, like, they go in the sewer and it just keeps cutting back to the bad guys running. That one guy that almost goes arse over tip because he slips with these fucking cowboy boots on the concrete.
Like cowboy boots and smooth concrete.
Yeah, that's not a good mix. No.
Yeah, you tell you what, he recovers quite well.
Oh, he does. But once you notice it, I just piss myself every time because you can tell he was like, fucking hell.
Yeah, and they just left it in. I guess no time to reset and redo it. Yeah. Just keep going.
If I was going back to Bronx Warriors, if I ever do those movies, I won't tell you what it is, but there's such a great moment like that they just kept in and said, fuck it, it's so funny.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's way more like severe than a guy just almost slipping over.
No. Probably like Ed Wood filmmaking.
Yeah, pretty much. They were just like, we got a free stunt. Cut print.
Champion Cinema.
So as for the Blu-ray, 88 Films put it out. It has a commentary by Pyun, commentary by Mike Leader and Arnie Van Emmer, who do a lot of their commentaries. A 30-minute making of. A featurette on the effects and an hour of expanded interviews about Cyborg, I imagine, from the Electric Boogaloo documentary.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
An interview with action movie historian David J. Moore about the movie. The Scream Factory is pretty much the same as 88, minus that David Moore interview. The Scream Factory has new art. 88 has the original theatrical art. There you go.
It's cool. Yeah, a lot. I'm tempted to get that. Like,
I never got around to getting the 88 films one, but I will do. Yeah. But also, there's a German release by a company called Digi Dreams, which is they've re-released Pune's director's cut, and it's got the original work, like VHS quality work print, plus a composite version, which I imagine they've used like HD footage to replace the bits in the movie that aren't that changed that much.
Do like despecialized Harmy's despecialized
pretty
Cyborg.
much. Yeah. Plus, there's the theatrical version on the second disc, only a DVD with the Albert Pune commentary as well. So that's still a good release as well.
Cool. Is it? I never really looked at like much of the behind, like the legacy this film left behind. But like, does Van Damme kind of generally acknowledge this movie? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
One that
really.
he's kind of like.
I'm not sure I've really ever seen him mention it that much.
Yeah, because certainly for the Van Damme bits in this movie, like whether I'll acknowledge that if you're not a fan of like this type of film, you're put off by the gore. You don't like all of the actors in the movie, but like the Van Damme stuff is really good. Like, the action-y bits. Like I said, if you're just there for like a few spin kicks and him looking muscly in the rain,
doing the splits,
then it ticks all them boxes, to be fair. So I'd like to think he would at least be happy with like the stuff that he did in the movie.
Oh yeah, I think so. Hopefully. Yeah. But what about, there's a few bits of artwork, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I suspect it's more because, Van Damme and stuff, larger-than-life character, and people like doing him in art. But it has got a few good art prints, one specifically by an artist called Vlad Rodriguez, who he did a series, actually, of Van Damme prints. So he did Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Time Cop, and then the Cyborg print.
That's cool that he chose Cyborg. Like I was saying, with it being slightly, at least like in the mainstream, being a bit more of a dark horse. Like he could have chosen like Double Impact or something.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like anything he could have done. But yeah, I love all the art. I mean, absolutely check out the artist Vlad Rodriguez. He does amazing art.
It's a very nice poster. Yeah.
Yeah, and the print itself's really good. We went out way to get it, and we've got all of the Van Damme.
Very nice. Fucking get them on the wall next time I come over.
Adorn my walls with JCVD. There was another guy, I don't think this has been printed, this artwork, but it's a piece of art by Colm Gagan, he's called, and it's a very nice piece of art, it's very lovely. Moody.
Lovely, yeah. Like I was saying before, like kind of makes the film look more upmarket. It makes it look like it's some giant space epic or something.
I could massively see that as a steelbook sort of cover.
Some limited edition, it's very nice. But you said it hasn't been printed, right?
No, I think it's just like digital art. Maybe that was going to be sold for something and it's never been produced on anything.
I'm sure that would sell if he did like a limit, like 50 run limited prints or something. I'm sure it would fly off. Yeah.
Fucking sadly though, like HMV exclusives are only interested in getting a neon shadow of Van Damme, slapping that in the box.
Oh no, but I mean, like if he himself like did a limited run of 50 prints, I think they would sell instantly.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. It's cool that like in the art it kind of has that moment in the movie that we liked, with the reveal of the cyborg head and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, that's like, I don't know, it's a really like a weird, uncomfortable moment in the movie. That kind of sets the tone of the film. So it's cool that it's there in the art.
But yeah, like I was saying, I've always loved the original theatrical poster art of like all the bad guys in the foreground walking towards the camera with Van Damme in the back, the apocalyptic background and stuff.
It's a cool moment.
Have you noticed though, in the poster, Fender's got he doesn't have he's a cross between old Fender and young Fender.
Yeah, just when we were looking before at the various posters, I did notice that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just being like, I don't know, just a quick picture on set or something.
Yeah. It's a cool moment though when they're all just like in a line. Walking.
Actually, you know how I always said, like when I was a kid, I used to look at that box and go, I know it's a Van Damme film, but I don't think that looks like Van Damme on the cover. Do you know how I've just realised he looks like? He looks like Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I guess I could say that. Yeah, I've still got that image on my screen, actually.
Yeah, he just looks, if you just crop out the head, just look at the face, he looks like a young Gene Hackman.
I guess is it the frown that he's doing?
It's the frown and like the mouth. I don't know. There's just something about it. Like you can tell it's Van Damme, but it looks off. I don't know.
Very strange.
It's a weird picture. But you can tell it's him because of the bulging muscles.
Oh dear, well, you certainly can. He's not doing the splits though.
No, he should be.
It might not be.
You can't see his legs. He might be doing the splits.
Yeah, true. He's just doing them for no reason at all. No, sadly though, there was no Cyborg video games.
No, sadly.
there's no Commodore 64 Cyborg.
I was looking the other day, because I was like, shit, we didn't look for, like, when we're doing all those game videos, there was a Universal Soldier game.
Yes. Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to revisit building a playlist for to do again, because there's a ton. There's a ton of Atari games, there's a ton of Spectrum games. It's a gold mine of dodgy games. Jumping over snakes.
I couldn't believe it. We haven't released it yet, but that'll be the next episode, I think, the Dirty Harry playthrough. I couldn't believe there was a fucking snake in it. I just thought you were just exaggerating, but I was like, no, there's a snake in a Dirty Harry game.
Snakes and bats. I don't know what it was about the mid-80s, mid to late 80s.
Easy to animate, I guess.
I guess. Just fucking every game had a snake or a bat in it. Weird.
So yeah, that wraps up this week, I think. We haven't really decided what we're doing next week. We're going to do another couple of post-apocalyptic movies.
Bookending it, weren't we, with Mad Max? So yeah, we need something in the interim.
So seeing as though we've done like the more B-movie side of it this time, should we do like a few when Hollywood attempts to do big budget, like maybe like Waterworld?
Yeah, I suppose that's a good idea actually. Yeah,
Waterworld and something else.
I'll have a think. Yeah, what else is there? But Waterworld's, I mean, it's not even a guilty pleasure really. I just fucking straight up enjoy the movie.
No, Waterworld, as we'll probably get into next week, is one of those movies where like its financial failure is become like it's a piece of shit over the years, and it's like, no, it's fine. It just couldn't make its money back.
But like, hero's journey type film, it's really solid. Really good.
Dennis Hopper being mental as always.
yeah, definitely. So I think we'll have to think of another one.
Yeah, there's a few candidates, so we'll have a think. So you can find us on the Instagram at Champion Cinema Pod. For no reason other than I was bored editing last week, I set up a TeePublic shop, so if you want a Champion Cinema t-shirt, you can get one.
Could be tempted by that Bronson.
Last night I made a Death Wish 3 on the Commodore Bronson t-shirt with our favourite quote of his, "Chicken's good, I like chicken." I was very proud of it. You are on Spotify now, as I said last week, so go listen on there if you want, or leave us a review on there, get more listeners, and Apple Podcasts, all that jazz. Help us out. And until next time, folks, we will see you down the pit.
See you in the heap.
Goodbye.